Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Scientology Outside of the Church podcast, season 11, episode 26. We're going to talk about symbolism and its effects on you and society, of which there is a ton of. I'm here with Quentin Stroud, and today is Friday, August 29th. And we have a nice opening line for this podcast. Take it
Right.
away, Quentin.
Yes. And we're talking about symbols, and so I just want to say that the cross is not Christ. The star is not God. The dollar is not money. They're just symbols. And so no matter what is going on, no matter what you're uh, uh, looking at and experiencing in your world, understand that symbols are all around you, and these symbols are constantly conveying something. They're conveying some meaning, which we're going to go into a little bit more as we get through the podcast, and why that matters to you, especially as independent Scientologists. What does that mean? Like, why is this important that we're being constantly inundated with symbols?
hmm
Let's get into it.
Well, to give a Scientological example, you look at the cover of Dianetics. What does it have on it? What's the
The
symbol?
volcano.
The volcano. And that's for a
Hmm.
reason. And LRH knew this. And he did it with all of the books in the late 60s and early 70s and commissioned artwork to be done to get people to go, there's something to this. I'm not sure what
Hmm.
it is, but I need to buy this book. And that's the crux of the matter of symbols is it is a restimulation, a mass with meaning, which is mobile. Uh, Here in
Mass
South
media
Africa,
mobility.
here in South Africa, the symbol for a chemist or a pharmacy or an apothecary is and it's probably the same thing there for you, is a big green plus sign.
Mhm.
Oh, there is a
The
pharmacy.
plus sign.
Right.
Yep.
I need to go to the pharmacy. I'm not sure what that means because it's not really a cross. It's just a green plus sign,
Hmm.
but that symbolizes something, and it's not red. Well, colors are a symbol as well. If something's red, it means danger. Green, it means ah.
Mm, yeah.
So that's how this stuff rolls. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and when you're talking about symbols that have mass meaning and mobility, we really don't think about it like that. And the way LRH even broke it down, you start to really see it. When he talks about mass, he's not necessarily just talking about like physical weight or dimensions and stuff like that. It's the mass could even be a mental mass, right? It could have
Mhm.
mental, it could hold or take up mental space in your mind, right? And
Mhm.
so that mass could, when you look at a certain symbol, and I'm not going to call any out at this point, but when you look at a certain symbol, what space does that get placed in your mind, right?
Mhm.
I remember um, back in the day, like when you would sing the national anthem or do the national anthem in the U.S., you had to cover your heart with your hand, you
Mhm.
know?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Right.
We did that in class, and that flag represented that concept. We had to do it every day, and you put your hand over your heart as if to pledge allegiance with your heart. And they've since stopped that long ago, but I remember it verbatim because I did it every
Yeah.
day. Every day.
Hmm.
It's an implant. Basically, but they've removed that from schools. We used to have to go out in fifth and sixth grade, and we had an American flag, and we learned how to fold it up the way they do in the military, and you couldn't let
Wow.
it touch the ground. And this flag represented this significance, this respect of the
Means
country
something.
means something. And this was 1979, 78. And all of this symbolism was in the classroom for this concept of what the United States flag stood for. I mean, you look at, look at all the flags and your icons on your phone, Android
Hmm.
or Apple or any other.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I guess yeah. When you look at the little app, those are symbols.
Yeah, those are symbols for a concept. The smiley
Hmm.
face with the tongue hanging out, the the face with the sweat coming off of the brow.
Oh, you're talking about the emojis.
Yeah, the emojis. They're all
Oh yes,
symbols for something that is connotating a certain, what's why it's emoji, emote,
emotion. Yeah,
emotion. And so emotion and symbolism go together.
right.
If you look at
So
that.
these symbols, so
Go
these
ahead.
symbols represent uh they mean something. So mass, meaning, and mobility. They mean something. So and they're created in order to make something happen or put something in motion or make some kind of mobility, make some movement. It represents an idea or a thought or a meaning, a piece of energy which is agreed to represent a certain idea. And I think this is really important because the symbol has meaning because it is agreed to represent this idea, and therefore the symbol then uh, can sometimes, if taken too far, can replace the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The symbol can replace the reality. And the one thing that I just comes to mind as I'm saying this is, have you ever been like on a TikTok or a live or a live stream or something like that, and if a guy or a girl holds up the little heart, with their fingers, like the heart, you can't see it on the podcast, but I'll put it in the thing, but the little heart, and it's supposed to represent love or sending you love or something like that. They don't love you. It's just a symbol. They don't know who of the thousands of people that they're streaming to, or whatever the case may be, or the people going to watch that video. They don't know who's watching that video. It's not that it's a symbol to represent an idea, and can, if taken out of control, can replace the actual reality or the actuality of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. And he goes on to say that, well, basically, observed symbols are not standard, but vary widely from individual to individual. This recognition was key. Symbols have personal meaning rather than universal interpretation. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an interpretation of what you feel you think it is. Or if you don't know, you're like, well,
What it means to you? Yeah.
right, what it means to you, or it doesn't mean anything to you if you don't know what love is, or something like that. You're kind of like, nah, I don't want to look at that.
Right.
So
Right.
symbols
So
are, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Finish.
No, what
Mhm.
symbols are a form of restimulating a concept, whether understood or not understood.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's an MU, or it's a conceptual understanding, or somewhere in between in that spectrum.
Right. And they're everywhere in the sense of whether it be, and we started this conversation talking about religious symbols, obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
cross and the Star
Mm-hmm.
of David, or um, you know, uh I have like right over here some like incense, like Nang Champra incense or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a symbol for the Om, Om. They have the Om symbol on the packaging, because it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be peace and tranquility and serenity or whatever the case may be. And so Zen. And so the symbology is everywhere, whether it be religious, whether it be political, right? We just did the whole podcast on politics, and what happens. Why is it important that a person's face is on the side of a building? Why is it important? Why is it important that statues are erected, in their name and stuff like that? Why is that important? Why are these symbols so important? What do they continue to convey and to put there for the period of time that they exist? Why is it important? Why is it important that as we progress, we tear down certain statues and certain
Right.
icons? This is a very, very interesting phenomena because it, because it's showing up, or it shows up in the physical universe, but it actually holds space and weight and meaning in the theta universe, in the spiritual universe, to you as a
Mm-hmm.
being,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is why getting tapped in and really knowing who you are and really knowing your stuff and really being self-determined is so important, because you can get wrapped up. Listen, you can get wrapped up in the money symbol. You can
Mm-hmm.
get wrapped up in the money symbol, and that thing will consume you if you don't understand, as a self-determined causative being, that money is just a result,
Mm-hmm.
right? Money is a
Mm-hmm.
result of something that's happening or transacted, or value that's exchanged. Money is just a result. But people think, but I'm chasing paper. I'm chasing them dollars, chasing that bag.
And that's exactly what I was thinking, is that if you have a big, thick solid gold chain around your neck, and then at the bottom of it is the dollar symbol, solid gold,
Hmm.
and you're walking around, what what is that person trying to say with that symbol? And if you
I
think
got
back,
money.
right, I got money. You think back to Nazi Germany. You think China, Chairman Mao, and these posters of Mao everywhere. Uh, Khrushchev in Russia, or I mean, you go further back, and it's a symbol.
Alan, yeah.
I just saw the other day that on one of the U.S. government buildings, they had they had these huge multi-story images. It was a poster that was 8 to 10 stories tall of the current commander in chief. And I thought, this isn't good, with the name at the bottom. And I
Yep.
thought, wow, this looks like China. Because
Hmm.
what are you doing when you put a person's face, or I mean, in
Or
advertising
North Korea.
or North Korea? Well, yeah, they're probably the most current version of that it's, I am the guy in charge. Don't forget, we're watching you.
Yep.
And now you're seeing it on government buildings, that is offices and offices and offices wide, and 8 to 10 stories tall on the side of a government building. Hang on a minute.
Right.
What US president has ever done that? Well, we Americans tend to do it in the form of statues.
Yeah.
We want you to
Yep.
remember Thomas Jefferson. We want you to remember George Washington.
Yeah.
Um,
The Lincoln Monument. The Lincoln is huge.
right,
If you ever been to DC and you've been to the Lincoln Monument, like, you're standing at his feet, and it's massive. Yeah.
right. And just the other day, it was reported that the bust of Martin Luther King was removed from the White House.
Hmm.
What
Yep.
does that say? The presence or a lack thereof. The whole thing with the Confederate flag a few years ago, flying
Hmm.
above city halls in different towns, different county courthouses, all this stuff, because it says this is what we believe. You're safe here, or you're not welcome here.
Right.
And that is how that affects. It shows agreement or lack thereof. So you got to be careful with these symbols because you're dealing within the realm of the physical universe. And this is what people think. What do people think when they see the Confederate flag? Remember the South or something else?
Right. Yeah. LRH mentioned about how symbols are ever employed symbols to impress upon the minds wise and important truths, that these symbols might prove an ever-present reminder of the necessity of ceaseless creation of our desire. So a symbol, we just talked about a number of different references, whether it be religious, whether it be political, whether it be otherwise. A symbol, it says it impresses upon the mind the ever-present reminder of the necessity of ceaseless creation of our desire. I think this is really interesting, that the symbols that you're seeing before you, the symbols that you're, and these are logos, these are, they're constantly coming at you. When you mentioned about the phone, I thought you were talking about the apps, like the actual logo on each app
Well, they are.
on
Those
your.
are symbols for that app. Those are
Those are symbols for that app, and when you see it, but oh, that's the app I need.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the term icon or iconography has
Hmm.
become so omnipresent in our society that everything is a symbol because it's an abbreviation for, well, like in that case, for a particular app. What would you rather look at? A list of files, and remember how it was in the 90s? You go in
Yep,
and
I remember
you
the
click
old
on
phone.
this thing, right? And now you go into to Steam and you have a bunch of images of all of the different games that you can play in your account on Steam, and everything has this icon for it, as your phone does, as your life does, and those things that you surround yourself in. Typically, I mean, if you want, like we were talking the other day about Buddha, you prefer
Hmm.
you prefer the sleeping Buddha as opposed to the eyes open Buddha. What's the
Yes,
difference?
my
What's the
sleeping Buddha. I
difference?
love sleeping Buddha.
Right. So what does an eyes open Buddha represent to you as opposed to a sleeping Buddha?
A sleeping Buddha to me represents that no matter where I am, where I go, I can be at peace, and that's actually me, because I remember being on the middle of a speedboat speeding down across the ocean from one island to another, and I was asleep on the speedboat. I was just knocked out. And so for me, sleeping Buddha just represents being able to be at peace no matter where you are, versus the eye open Buddha is one who is seeking enlightenment, or who has sought enlightenment to become the Buddha, whether you're a Bodhi or a Bodhisattva or that whole thing. But yes, these all have meanings, and they do mean something personally, rather than universally. But it communicates at each level.
Right. And one of the points of this podcast is to make people aware, because it's more of a subconscious thing, that you're surrounded by this stuff and you're stimulated, either good or bad, by a symbol that is put in front of you more often than not. Sex sells. Half naked man, half naked woman, whatever. Mm. And that's
Hmm.
how they do that. And you have to be aware of this stuff, and that's the real point of this podcast is, what are you being, and I'm going to just use the non-Scientology term, what are you being triggered on, and why? That's around you, that somebody else has placed there, because the moment you look at it, bing, 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 what is it that you're looking at, and why is it put there? And you have to stop and ask yourself, what's the symbolism pushing you to do?
What is it
Like you,
for? Yeah.
yeah. And that's and that is, it's so prevalent in the society everywhere you go, whether it's, what you put in your house. You're in control of what you put in your house. If you want a peaceful place, you've got a sleeping Buddha there, and plants, and it's, oh, it's so zen, and it makes you
Yes.
feel peaceful, and
Hmm.
the imagery of when you leave your house is significantly different
Right.
Because one is, and it's important to note, one is self-determined and one is other determined.
Hmm. For
So
sure.
that's why we're doing this podcast, is to raise awareness on the iconography that's around, because you
Well,
don't want to be pushed in the wrong direction if you're aware of it.
right. And so you're walking down the street, or you're walking in a shopping center or something like that, and you see the Visa MasterCard logo. We call it logos for the businesses. You see the Visa MasterCard symbol on the door. It's constantly telling you to use that here, use that here, use that here, use that
Mhm.
here. It's constantly it says uh, ever-present reminder of the necessity of ceaseless creation of our desires. And so an ever-present reminder, use that here, use that card here, use your card here. And you're constantly being told to do that. And so now you're not using your card necessarily for from a self-determined perspective to do what's good for you. You're doing it because they have a thing called retail therapy. Re, retail therapy, that you spend your hard-earned money to fuel the idea of these companies and their symbols that they put out everywhere or whatever, and you spend your hard-earned money to feel better, when in actuality you actually most likely feel worse after the fact, because they right after retail therapy they have buyer's remorse. Go figure.
Right. So MasterCard, Visa, give us your interest payments where you pay 2 or 3 times as much for the item as opposed to if you just bought it with cash. Or
Yeah.
you made something yourself in some cases instead. So as
Or you just you use that same money to just do something that actually makes you happy, like actually get happy, right?
right, what do
Like
you get from it? Right, right. A possession is one thing. Possessions are responsibility. Now it's okay, where am I going to put this? And then a year or two later, you're like, how did I get all of this stuff that I don't need?
and then you're paying for storage to keep it.
Right. And then you're paying for storage to keep it on top of the interest that you're paying in order to buy the thing. And then you have to clean it, maintain it, update the extended warranty, all of
Jeez.
this. And so, and you, to the listener, you need to pay attention to this
Hmm.
because you're constantly being re-stimulated, triggered to do things, and you just do it automatically because you're so patterned into, you walk by and you walk by Cinnabon. Ooh,
Oh, Major
dopamine.
Cinema.
Ah, sugar.
They
Oh,
got a new cinema open up at the mall near me, right next to the Texas Chicken place. So it's Texas Chicken and then Cinnabon. You
in
in heaven.
Malaysia, in Malaysia, you know.
In Malaysia. So look, it's in Malaysia, right? In Malaysia, it's the Texas Chicken and then Cinnabon, and then you go be the Sleeping Buddha
Yeah. So
after you eat.
right.
After you
Ooh,
eat,
I want that because I want to be knocked out from a sugar coma, or carbs
right?
or whatever. And
Right.
so you need to pay attention to this, especially in our current society,
Ooh, that just
where,
got me.
yeah, I
I
mean,
want
there
a
was
Cinnabon.
this scene in Minority Report, one of Tom Cruise's movies, which is based off of a Philip K. Dick novel.
Love that movie.
And at the time the movie came out, the technology was there, but it wasn't in retail as far as it was everywhere. Where they're scanning his face or his retina, and they're automatically putting up this symbol. What is an ad? What is an advertisement? It's a symbol for a product with
Yep.
words behind it, backing up that significance. And
Yes.
we now see that today with the Facebook app. You talk about something in the room, and you've got your Facebook app on your phone. If you look in the T's and C's and everything like that, you'll find out they're listening. They're listening to everything you say, and you say, "I need a new Ford F-150. I'm
Oh,
thinking
watch
about
this.
getting a new truck." And then what shows up on Facebook? Ford
Trucks.
F-150 trucks.
Right.
It's a symbol. It's a reminder. Hey, you really want this. Hey, you need this. Hey, this is on sale.
Mm-hmm.
That is the greatest form of manipulation through restimulation, because that's what a symbol does is, oh, think about this, or oh, think about that. And that's the lack of awareness of I'm being manipulated into buying a truck for three times as, I mean, I just saw a thing on TikTok last night that a standard Ford F-150 is $39,000. Just a two-wheel drive Ford F-150. But they know they can get it because they're putting out these ads. How many times do you see an ad over and over and over and over and over and over, and you get pounded symbol, 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 symbol?
Mm-hmm.
That adds up that significance, which adds mass. I must have this thing, or I must believe this thing, or this is true, like we had with the religious figures on huge posters on the sides of buildings. If you look at Hollywood, California, they do the same thing with movies now. They're 20-story long ads that are posters that are dropped down the side of a building in Hollywood talking about the latest movie that's coming out. You need to see this. So you're pushed
Yeah.
in this direction, pushed in that direction. Now think about what that does to you as a being, where you're throwing your hard-earned effort, your exchange for your job in a particular direction, and then you go to the movie and you go, this sucked. Why do I keep going to the movies? But it's all
Right.
symbolism. What is a movie? Look at all the product placement. Look at the concepts that they're trying to deliver in a movie because of the symbols.
Yeah. I was actually just working with a client and one of my celebrity clients and working on the client's working on a movie, and in there they were talking about getting some product placement dollars to help, fund the movie and stuff like that, because sometimes projects need help funding, and getting some product placement dollars in just to kind of put it inside their movie, and a lot of money is thrown at it. So this is not a small thing that they know works.
Mhm.
They know what to do. They know that 16 million people or however many millions of people see this movie, and this logo is flashed or this symbol is flashed over as people watch this movie. They know it's going to get a return.
Mhm.
They already know it.
Yeah.
It's already calculated that this is that we're expecting to get this kind of return from the and I've been in conversations. And I haven't been in rooms because I don't live there, but I've been in conversations where these conversations are broken down,
Mhm.
and they know exactly that to the very number, but they have a very good idea of how much return they're going to get by paying X amount of dollars to have this symbol being shown X amount of time in this movie, whether it be a car, Toyota, Honda, every time with the car chases or whatever. This is a real thing.
Yeah, I just finished watching a couple weeks ago Stranger Things again on Netflix. And I could probably ask Chat GPT and it might know, but almost every episode, which every episode is about 45 minutes as opposed to a 2.5 hour movie. So you're looking at 45 minutes times, oh, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes a season.
For 8
Almost
seasons.
every single episode had a Coke can, a Coke machine, a Coke sign in it.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
was obvious because the can wasn't turned away where you couldn't see it, because Apple does the same thing with their computers.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching Dexter as well. How many times the Apple MacBook Pro shows up in front of Dexter while he's looking for information on the internet about somebody? There's that Apple logo
Ah.
on the back of that computer, and you'll see it blurred out if they don't have permission, but it's product
If they
placement.
right.
Right.
Yep. That's
Look,
true.
Dexter uses Apple. I want to be like Dexter. I mean, I don't think that they think about that. They just think product placement. But
No, they do think about that.
the association.
Yes,
I mean,
that is a very real thing.
yeah, and it's incredible to me that you see that sort of a thing in a show, and then I'm rewatching Breaking Bad again. I haven't seen any product placement in that show
Mm,
yet. Whereas Dexter was Apple, and Stranger Things it was Coke, and these are
mm-hmm,
all subliminal things. And if you want to get into the amount of images that come across, and I'm sure you've heard about this, that the eye can see as opposed to the amount of images that are being put in front of you.
mm-hmm,
It's been shown that if you take frame by frame, you can find words, you can find symbols that are in there that you are subliminally being shown in a
mm-hmm.
video to get you to think a certain way. But you don't catch it quick enough, but the eye and the mind do. This is how bad this gets. So you have to be
Yeah,
careful with this sort of thing. And granted, I mean, you really have to slow it down frame by frame by frame, but know that it's happening. And it's
it's
either you
happening.
you don't catch it, or you see it on the side of a building. It's the same thing. And your awareness has to come up that, okay, this is what they're trying to get me to think. So the
Mm.
point of the podcast is what symbols do you have surrounding you that you are self-determined with? And what symbols do
That,
you
that,
have around you that you're other determined with?
That exactly, and that I think is the most important because it's going to happen, right? I mean, we're gonna continue to have symbols around us. We're going to continue to be inundated with it, like you said, from the movies to television to, walking down the street. A wedding ring is a symbol, right? For some, this person is symbolizing that this person is married, not necessarily in love, not necessarily even happy, but it's symbolizing that the person is married. And this wedding ring is a symbol. Catch this, so much so that there are those that covet the ring more than the marriage, right?
Mhm.
Just that they have a ring. And there are some that will even go out and buy themselves a ring,
Mhm.
right? Just to have the ring on. Like say if they go to a club, if they want to go out, they want to be bothered or whatever, they'll buy themselves a ring to have on, just to give the impression or the illusion that they're married or in a relationship. This is really really interesting. And so, how do you become self-determined, and why is this important to independent Scientologists? So catch this in the lecture called Elementary Straightwire. Give me one second because I want to get the that date. Elementary Straight Wire, and it's from 7 October 1954. LRH says that, now just so you know what straight wire is, you give them an understanding of straight wire, how it works when it comes to early on in the lower grades, the lower bridge.
Well, straight wire is just you recalling. There's a difference between remembering and recalling. You recalling a particular thing, something that you have there. Recall is much clearer than remember. So you're trying to get a person to recall a particular image, significance, a mind's eye picture of something. And in the process of doing that, and it works both ways, you can go back and can recall something, and you can pull the locks off of it, the Dianetic locks. Okay, a lock is a restimulator to an engram. Okay, but a symbol can also restimulate in the opposite direction.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
straight wire is for good, but you can also flip it and go, what is well, a hammer and sickle. What do you think about the old Russian hammer and sickle? What does that mean? Is that recalling a pleasure moment, or is that recalling an engram?
I don't know what that means.
Well, the point is that it's enforced,
Okay.
and communism and all of that in Russia, and it was everywhere in Russia for decades. The hammer and the sickle work,
Yes. Oh,
work,
okay. Oh, yeah, and the sickle to cut down the wheat, and the hammer to,
hammer
yeah,
to
I
work.
got it.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
that's a form of straight wire. Now, if I said, if you look at a hammer and a sickle, and you go, okay, what do you get from that, as opposed to uh, a palm tree on a beach, and you're straight
Mm,
wiring to that.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, you can release a lock, but one is a pleasure moment, one is something else quite different.
And also to go a little bit more in depth in that in straight wire, ARC straight wire is a part of as you're going up the bridge, but
Mm-hmm.
in straight wire you're recalling these things not just as a, oh yeah, I remember, I remember that, I remember that. It's not, that's not it. You're recalling these things, and with an exactness, that gives you time, place, form, and event, gives you an as isness. In other words, it vanishes or releases
Right.
whatever that thing that has been holding you. And
Mm-hmm.
this is really important as we talk about symbols and symbology and symbolism, because when you understand this, is that it could be something as, it could be a phrase. It could be a phrase. I remember, just a quick story. I remember that something happened to me in a abusive situation when I was young, and years later, and even after going through psychotherapy, talk therapy, even after going through therapy, and I'm thinking I'm so much better. Years later, a 2D used the exact same phrase. You play too much. You play too much. Use the exact same phrase, and my body locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like clenched up my entire body like that, because the exact same phrase was a lock for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it re-stimulated me that my whole body just locked up, right?
Right.
But I say all this to say, because when you're dealing with straight wire, you're talking about being able to recall something so clearly, so well, that it can give you relief, right? So LRH says this in the elementary straight wire lecture. He said, "What's this got to do with straight wire?" He was talking about symbols and everything. He said, "What's this got to do with straight wire? Straight wire is all conducted by symbols. Symbols are things which have mass, meaning, and mobility. The bank itself has mass, meaning, and mobility. An engram is simply a symbol. The words are simply symbols. So therefore, there must be an orientation point somewhere. And if the preclear himself is lost, if he considers himself all in motion, all over the place, all in motion, and all the engrams are particles around him in motion, how on earth are you ever going to give this boy any straightening out at all? The remedy of it is to try to make an orientation point of him." I'm going to stop there. So when you're dealing with all these symbols all around you, logos and icons and emojis and all around you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have your own symbols of engrams and locks and all this stuff that's going on in your within you, right? If the pre-clear himself is lost, what is going on? So much going on, so much going on, all this overthinking and all this stuff that you're dealing with, right? What you're trying to do with auditing is you make an orientation point of him. And
Mm-hmm.
so now it's you being you, looking at the symbols, looking at the locks, looking at the engrams, looking at the data that's in the engrams, looking at the words, or you know what I'm saying? So you're going in, and you become the orientation point. So an auditor helps you to become that point of orientation, helps you to orient yourself in present time, and you can then see all this stuff around you that's been going on all the time, everywhere present.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can actually pull yourself out of it, and you can actually become clearer because of it. Do I have this right,
Yeah.
Jonathan?
Yep. You got it right. You got it right. So it's a matter of either you're being restimulated through manipulation, or you are aware of it. And that is what awareness level is. Is you're either pushed around and you don't even know it to do a certain thing, MasterCard or Visa, or
Mhm.
whatever, or you. it doesn't have any sway with you. And that's what the reactive mind is made up of, is images, symbols that mean certain things that push you in a certain direction. A hot stove. Okay, I burned my hand on a hot stove. I need to stay away from a hot stove. But to the degree that you have become aware of these things and you look at it for what it is, it doesn't push you around anymore. It just you're just in present time, and you can't be the adverse effect of it. So that's very important to keep in mind when you go out into the world, especially a big city, or you get on your phone, or you get on the internet, or or is, are you aware of what it is that is symbolizing this to you to do something else? So keep an eye out for these things. So we're going to end this podcast for now, and I hope this makes you more aware of what's going on in the world using symbols. And if you understand those symbols or don't understand those symbols, look them up. What does it mean? What is it? What's the significance? Why is this placed here? That's what you have to ask yourself. For Quentin Stroud and myself, we hope this podcast has raised your awareness on the symbols that are around you that might be making you happier or might be pushing you around to think a certain way. Take the time to look at that. For Quentin and myself, namaste, and we love you. Bye bye.